your home with BuildAid on Mix 93.8. Proudly brought to you by AfriSam. AfriSam, creating concrete possibilities.
BuildAid on Mix 93.8 FM. Good evening. My name's Graham Alexander. In the studio, as usual, Simon Cretney, the architect man, looking after the desk, and Kay looking after all of us. What's up, Kay?
Well, you told me the other day that you're a bit tired of all the musical questions, so tonight we have a building-themed question, and it's an iconic building in Jozi that I'm thinking of, and I'm going to give you a really hard clue because it's an easy building to get. So the first clue is Ingrid Martens filmed her award-winning documentary entirely in the lifts of this building, and it took her 2.5 years hanging out in the lifts of this particular building. It's an iconic building. And
was she stuck?
No, she I don't think she spent the entire 2.5 years in the lift, but the whole documentary was filmed in this building's lift. So I'm not going to tell you the name of the documentary either because I need to make it difficult. But you can guess which building I'm talking about. You see it on the Jozi skyline. So if you know which building we're talking about, SMS us on 41348 and you could win some delish mortar ice cream.
BuildAid on Mix 93.8. My guest tonight is Uwe Schluter from the company MiTek. Uwe heads up marketing in this giant of a roofing company. Welcome, Uwe.
Thank you, Graham. Good evening. Good evening, listeners.
Just to get into understanding what MiTek's about and what is a roof and what is a truss and whatever, so that we all get on the same page as quick as possible. MiTek has been around a long, long time.
Since 64.
And it's an international company?
Yes, we were founded in the States in 1955, invented the gangnall plate, and that set the progress going to prefabricated roof trusses.
Now, a lot of people get confused and think MiTek makes trusses. Give us your business model, because it's not quite as simple as that.
No, it isn't. We are actually the technology company. We provide components, software, and equipment, and the final products, including the service to the man in the street, the developer, and so on, is done through licensed suppliers. And they take our components, our technology, together with our software, and make finished products out of it. And that is how the full chain is provided.
And the interesting thing is those components are components, so they don't include the wood or the timber in the truss. Essentially, it's steel plates and the like that put the truss together.
Quite right, Graham. Connectors, hangers, screws, nails, all the various structurally important aspects that make a roof safe. Whether it be light gauge steel, whether it be timber, it's still all components, and these have to then be utilized in the right manner and assembled.
I was fortunate to work with some of you guys long time ago in the development of technology and software. Not that I was involved in your software at all. We were looking at it from a quantity surveying point of view. But you guys were way, way, way ahead of the game when it came to three-dimensional engineering and design and so on.
Well, that is actually the key component of MiTek. It's not just the products. There's basically three, but it is software driven, and we spend literally millions of dollars annually on software development, never resting on one particular version, but constantly developing this. And that software has allowed the accurate calculation of all aspects of a structural roof entity, such as the design and even taking off all the quantities that are then required. The other component besides products is the actual service, the quality of people that we have worldwide. That makes the team, and they're highly knowledgeable. Most of our staff are actually with the company for 25 years or more. So that shows you that if we had to add that all together, it's literally hundreds of years in experience.
Just to walk through the process, whether you're an architect or a building contractor, you're eventually going to need a price on a roof, on a roof system. We're going to talk about planning a little bit later, so and how important it is to get this price as soon as possible. But somewhere along the way, you're going to need a price. So you would take it to your local supplier, and you leave the drawings there, and they're sent off to one of your factories, and the guys, they design from this drawing, they design the roof and every single component and everything that goes into that roof.
That is quite right. The software is so designed that, in fact, you can import files directly and just convert them into the software and do your roof elements from that, saving you quite a bit of time. Or alternatively, you use paper copies and then you simply follow the routines, putting in the perimeters and the roof itself, and you get the same answer. That is done not by us as such most of the time. That is actually done by our suppliers utilizing our software. On average, quotes can be generated depending on size of project, but a typical RDP house wouldn't take more than 10 minutes. But people mustn't expect 10-minute turnaround times, because there's a big queue of work in the process.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Uwe. The system essentially is going to produce two sets of information. One is to the factory to make the trusses and use your plates and null plates and whatever. The other is it gives it to the contractor so he can erect the roof. And you're giving them quite detailed drawings of how to actually do that. Is that a good view of what happens?
Quite right. There's actually three processes. The first one is simply the quotation, because that normally happens at inquiry stage, and there's no guarantees that will turn into a final project. Once the project is awarded, that same project that was quoted is now finalized by going through the production builds of materials that are required for the manufacturing. And together with that the drawings are generated, which then go to site with the delivery of the roof trusses.
Now, something that's also critically important in our regulation is you need an engineer's certificate for any roof structure, and you guys can do that.
Absolutely. It is, thank you for mentioning it, it's the most critical. If I can put it very simple, it's like building a kit car, but not getting it roadworthy. A roof needs a certificate. Otherwise, you don't know if all the components have been correctly installed or in the right places, i.e. in roofing terms, if the bracing is there, the tie-downs are there, things like that. And if that were done, I would say 98% of all roof failures could be prevented.
As you've mentioned, you're the providers of the components, the software systems, the factory systems, and so on. But ultimately, the supplier, be it a builder's warehouse or whoever, would supply the actual trusses. Now, quality comes into play here, because you're not the only people that make prefabricated trusses, and there are a lot of people that make trusses in the backyard and on site and whatever. But if you see a MiTek brand on the drawings, what does that mean from a guarantee point of view, Uwe?
Well, first of all, MiTek is an international firm, so you don't have the backup of a local company that may, through whatever economic challenges, disappear. We're not going to disappear. Number one, we have a reputation at stake. Number two, but we also back that. And we carry a worldwide professional indemnity insurance. So it's not like if I'm gone, that doesn't mean anything changes. You're not dealing just with a person. That's part of the nice service part. But the facts are you're dealing with an international company that sticks to what it says and provides that guarantee through the supplier or direct through MiTek.
You've also got a guarantee on the product.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All products, first of all, we are one of the only, not one of the only, we are the only roof truss system in South Africa that is actually has been awarded the ISO certification of quality, which encompasses the whole company process. All our products are tested. We have our own testing facilities. So we don't supply products that are not known or have unknown entities to them.
MiTek as a group, you're involved particularly in America and probably Australia with not only roofing, you're doing walls, you're doing the whole house with your systems and components. Where do you see that in South Africa at the moment?
Well, the whole house thing, before I go into that is, it's a catching concept. It's growing. It certainly is. The only thing I think that is holding it back is the available skills levels. Now, that is being addressed through SAFSA with various training seminars, and we're certainly on the way. At the moment, the majority of structures in light gauge steel are still roof only, with a smaller portion being the wall framing as well. However, of late, where the wall framing really comes in on its own, almost logically, is multi-rise buildings, where instead of filling up the concrete slabs or between the concrete slabs with brick walls, which would take a lot of effort to bring into the building, they're now just simply filled in with light gauge steel walling. It's certainly there. It's not going to go away, and we've got all the facilities, the products, and of course our suppliers would also provide all these components or frames.
Uwe, from an environmental sustainability point of view, how's your product? Where does it fit in?
That's a good question. Our product, fortunately, now that environment consciousness has become such a big thing, I would like to say, our product has always been environment friendly, either in timber as a nail plated truss, or our light gauge steel, which on the other hand is fully recyclable and therefore again has a similar global impact to timber. The two products are really equally great on the environment sustainability aspect.
Okay. Let's check with Kay. Who won the ice cream?
Who won the ice cream? Well, the building we were talking about is Ponty, and he says Ponty sums up all the hope, all the wrong ideas of modernism, all the decay, all the craziness of the city. It is a symbolic building, a sort of a white whale. It is concrete fear, the Tower of Babel, and yet it is strangely beautiful.
Uwe, thank you so much for coming to chat to us.
Graham, thank you. Listeners, thanks very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Uwe Schluter from MiTek. Thanks too to Simon on the desk, Nontlantla, who does all the work in the background, Ian doing the videoing, and Kay, who looks after all of us. Up next is Adam Ford Cortina and Motoring in the Mix. We'll catch you next week, same time. Ciao.
Your home with BuildAid on Mix brings you all sorts of interesting info about building. Graham Alexander chats to different guests every Wednesday evening between 6 and 7. Proudly brought to you by AfriSam. AfriSam, creating concrete possibilities.